up in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Oh, I agree. More and more people are just. I feel that maybe it's just because I'm tuned into it, but I think people are. I talk to people with physical problems, and they've just had it with the medical.
They've had it, right?
They've had it, and they're trying. And this isn't me inputting anything. I'm just sitting there listening.
Yeah.
They're talking to a nutritionist. They're talking.
Yeah. That's why longevity's been catching on. That's why longevity is kind of exploding, actually, because people are. The more the medical model becomes entrenched, there seems to be like a pendulum effect that it's forcing us to wake up. It's not working. The old way's just not working, flat out. Hey, I got a bunch of calls here, Leo. What's going on? Anything I can help you with?
Okay, well, maximum effect, I thought about this. What I would really like, I think people would benefit this. One time I called into your, there was a listener that called into your show, and he said that he would engage in something called sun gazing. And I thought, what is he talking about? And you proceeded to break down why that early morning and late evening sunset and sunrise sun, why it's beneficial to us, and you gave the biological breakdown of what's happening there at the back of our eye and why that sunlight was good for us.
Isn't that interesting? Melatonin, serotonin. Did I talk about the ancient Egyptians and the 3 days in the casket part?
I don't think so.
I didn't talk about that. The mystery schools used to take advantage of the nature of serotonin and melatonin and its relationship to light and dark by burying people, and then they keep them underground away from light, and then for 3 days, and then 3 days later they would open up the casket, if it was a casket or whatever it was, and the sun would get in to these guys' eyes, the people who've been laying there, and the melatonin that had been building up for days, melatonin being a nighttime hormone, would boom get turned into serotonin real quickly, and they'd have these incredibly spiritual experiences. Elevations in serotonin, large elevations, are associated with spirituality. So there's a whole kind of interesting relationship between our mood and the way we think and our brain health and the sun via the pineal gland, the eyes, and this melatonin-serotonin relationship. And I hope I didn't make that too confusing for people to understand. But it all has to do with melatonin and serotonin. And that's one of the reasons why serotonin reuptake or drugs, SRUs or SRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitor drugs, Prozac and such, that's why they're so problematic, and that's why they're associated with violent behaviors, because serotonin is a awakening hormone. Serotonin is responsible for our perception of reality, really. A lot of our perception of reality is associated with serotonin and also something called DMT, which is produced in the pineal gland. Very fascinating relationship between our consciousness and the way we think, and fear and vigilance and awareness, and serotonin, melatonin, and also tryptamines like DMT from the pineal gland. All of these you can help make your own serotonin, by the way. First of all, sunlight is a great way to make serotonin, obviously, as we just said, but you can help yourself make serotonin by understanding how to use vegetables and protein. Vegetables and protein together initiate serotonin production, specifically carbohydrates and protein together. In fact, we'll talk a little bit about carbohydrates and protein tomorrow. Carbohydrates and protein together have a serotonin stimulating effect. Now, that's one of the reasons why we're addicted to sugar, by the way. Maybe the reason why we're addicted to sugar. Why carbs are comfort foods, because carbs will help you up-regulate serotonin. And that's why you want to go veggie carb. Yes.
Ben, you were talking about gas earlier, and that's one of the things that I don't think I hear enough of, is that mixing of the proteins and the starches together.
Yeah.
And if you notice, beans and legumes are a natural protein starch combination, and that's why they're notorious for giving
gas. That's very true.
And so if you separate those two, not only that, if you separate them, if you have your proteins with vegetables and your starches with vegetables, your body can break them down way better.
Absolutely.
And you have tons of energy left over.
Absolutely.
And you don't have that much more time. And you don't. I've taken it to the best lab in the world, my own body.
Yes, right.
People can try it out, and it works amazingly.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about starches. You want to stick to the veggies. The starchy foods like potatoes and rice and grain and beans, they're not necessarily in your interest, and it's probably best to kind of keep as little as possible. They're comfort foods. You know what I'm saying?
I knew you would say that. And it's true. But if you're going to, because people still, if you're accustomed to those things,
yeah.
I mean, if you want to phase them out, and it's amazing. I saw something about Arnold Schwarzenegger the other day, and the way that they were eating, and they were only eating proteins and vegetables. They weren't
exactly,
starchy.
and fats. You got to get your fats in there, though, especially
and the fats. They were doing they were doing that for the milk.
Yes, and salt. He just hit the major hot buttons. It's protein, it's vegetables, it's oil, fats, I should say, coconut oil, butter, nutritional oils as well. And then there's a whole controversy around oils that I don't want to get necessarily into, and salt. And all of this, that's basically it right there. Now, it's filling, it's satisfying, and you hit the nail on the head when you said something earlier. You have energy. It gives you energy, right? If you feel tired after you ate, that's an indicator. If you feel like you need a nap, and I know exactly that feeling. It happens every time I eat pasta. I feel like I need a nap, right? If you feel like you need a nap after you ate, that's the wrong food.
It's the wrong food. However, if you eat a steak and potato, that stays in your stomach for approximately 8 hours, not even passing into your intestine.
Right, and it stays in the intestine a while as well.
If you just eat the potato with the salad, or if you just eat the steak with the salad, you cut that time in half.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Now, the steak itself is going to be harder to process. And steak is really interesting food, by the way. Meat is really interesting food because there's zillions of problems associated with meat, but it's so valuable from a nutritional standpoint that it's just really tough to duplicate meat. And likewise, by the way, with dairy. Dairy is very complex food and a very, very problematic food, but the nutrients in the dairy, they're just really, they're singular in nature, and there's nothing like them in nature. The proteins, the growth factors, and if you're vegan and vegetarian, you miss out on a lot of things. Go ahead. Last word, Leo. We're out of time.
Okay. Well, since I've been listening to your show, I've actually cut down on my fruit intake. Although I do think it's the minimal impact food for the morning on your body rhythms. But anyway, I have cut down, and I get the organic fruit does have less sugar, and you can taste that. But the other thing I've added to my diet is the whey protein from non-pasteurized source.
Where do you get it?
I've gotten from One World Whey.
Good deal. Leo, I got to go, man. I'm just flat out of time, buddy. Good to talk to you, though. Thanks for your call. Sorry we left you on hold. If we left you on hold, we'll get to you tomorrow. If you call, tell our call screener, we'll get you first up. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for listening, friends. Have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful, spectacular day. We'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.